Hello friends, in this video, you will see how have the actors of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine changed. You will know their real names and age. I will show you how they looked then, in 1993, and what's with them now, in 2025. Okay, let's go. Rene Eisenberg as Nog, born January 6, 1969. No, Deep Space Nine. Character evolves more during the series than the Ferengi Nog. Played by the late Rene Eisenberg. In the beginning of the series he's a petty thief who talks about humans like they're garbage. And by the final season he's a courageous Starfleet officer. Eisenberg's acting credits grew sparse after Deep Space Nine, though the late 2010s saw the actor making a return starting with the 2016 TV movie, Cosmos. In 2019 he joined DS9, co-star Cirroc Lofton on the podcast, The Seventh Rule. But sadly Eisenberg was destined not to see 2020, suffering chronic health problems for most of his life. Eisenberg died of heart failure at the age of 50 in September 2019. Rene Auberjonois as Constable Odo, born June 1, 1940. Before Deep Space Nine, Rene Auberjonois was best known as the snooty Clayton Endicott III on the popular sitcom, Benson. A character who couldn't be farther from Constable Odo. A solitary, uncompromising security chief, Odo often feels more like the hard-boiled private eyes Captain Picard likes to dress up as on the holodeck. While many DS9 residents see him as aloof and hard-hearted, Odo bears a torch for Kira Nerys that eventually develops into a romance. And he occasionally betrays a soft spot for the station's most well-known crook, the Ferengi bartender Quark. Rene Auberjonois' most notable role after Star Trek, Deep Space Nine was as Paul Lewiston in Boston Legal, co-starring with Captain Kirk actor William Shatner, among many roles prior to being cast as Paul in 2004. Rene Auberjonois appeared in Star Trek Enterprise and made a memorable guest appearance in Frasier as Professor William Tewksbury. Having worked with Hollywood auteur Robert Altman in the 1970s, Rene Auberjonois had a late-period partnership with indie auteur Kelly Reichardt, with whom he made the films Certain Women and Poor Cow before his death in 2019 from metastatic lung cancer at the age of 79. He is married and has 2 children. Nicole de Boer as Lieutenant Ezri Dax, born the 20th of December 1970. Best known as Ezri Dax, Nicole de Boer's most substantial role since Star Trek DS9 ended was as Sarah Bracknell Bannerman in the TV adaptation of The Dead Zone, which ran between 2002 and 2007. Nicole de Boer then became one of the many actors who starred in Star Trek and Stargate, playing Dr. Allison Porter in Stargate Atlantis Season 5, Episode 7, Whispers. Nicole de Boer then had a series of guest roles in procedural shows like Cracked, Perception, before securing a recurring role as Becca Dorsey in Private Eyes. Nicole de Boer also reprised the role of Ezri Dax for Star Trek Online. Now she is 55. Cirroc Lofton as Jake Sisko, born August 7, 1978. One of the many things that distinguishes Deep Space Nine from other Star Trek series is the relationship between Ben Sisko and his son Jake. The latter played by Cirroc Lofton, while his father bears the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders. Jake forges a friendship with the Ferengi Nog, navigates the dating world, and discovers his passion writing. Jake Sisko actor Cirroc Lofton went straight from Star Trek Deep Space Nine to a regular role as Curtis Thorpe in basketball drama The Hoop Life, which ran between 1999 and 2000. Following that, Cirroc Lofton had a handful of guest roles in shows like Soul Food, Invasion, and CSI Miami. Lofton has maintained a strong relationship with Star Trek fandom, appearing in fan films like Star Trek of Gods and Men, in which he played Sever, the half-Vulcan son of Captain Nyota Uhura. Cirroc Lofton now hosts The Seventh Rule, the Star Trek podcast he began with his close friend in Star Trek Deep Space Nine co-star Rene Eisenberg. When Rene Eisenberg tragically died in 2019, Lofton continued to host the podcast with Ryan T. Husk and Rene's widow, Melissa Longo. Now he is 47. Armin Shimerman as Quark, born November 5, 1949. In many ways, the Ferengi bartender Quark, Armin Shimerman, is at the very center of what sets Deep Space Nine apart from other Trek series. A year after Star Trek, Deep Space Nine ended in 1999. Armin Shimerman made one final appearance as Principal Snyder in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Since DS9, Shimerman has voiced multiple characters in cartoons and video games, most notably voicing Dr. Nefarious in the Ratchet and Clank games. In 2006, Armin Shimerman was reunited with Rene Auberjonois on Boston Legal, in which he played Judge Brian Hopper in 6 episodes. Shimerman and Worf actor Michael Dorn also contributed various voices to the animated series Uncle Grandpa in 2016. Armin Shimerman reprised the role of Quark for Star Trek: Lower Decks. Outside his screen work, Shimerman has been an adjunct professor at University of Southern California since 2017. Teaching the works of William Shakespeare, Shimerman is also a passionate supporter of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, raising money with the Trek Against Cancer team for the annual Purple Stride Walk. He's married to actress Kitty Swink. Now he is 76. Colm Meaney as Chief O'Brien. Born the 30th of May 1953, Colm Meaney has played some extraordinary roles on film and television since Star Trek: Deep Space Nine ended. Some of Colm Meaney's most memorable performances in the years after DS9 include Gene in 2004's Layer Cake, opposite future James Bond. More recently, Colm Meaney has been seen in the likes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Gangs of London, and The Singapore Grip. Meaney has also recently made a handful of movies with Liam Neeson, Marlowe, and In the Land of Saints and Sinners. In 2017, Colm Meaney won Best Actor in a Lead Role at the 2017 Irish Film and Television Awards for his role as Northern Irish politician Martin McGuinness in The Journey. Colm Meaney will next be seen in Neil Marshall's upcoming crime movie, Duchess, released later in 2024. He is married to costume designer Ines Glorian and has 2 daughters. Now he is 72. Alexander Siddig as Dr. Julian Bashir. Born the 21st of November 1965. Dr. Julian Bashir, played by Alexander Siddig. Alexander Siddig went on to star in some of the biggest TV shows of the past 20 years after Star Trek: Deep Space Nine ended. Although probably best known for playing Ra's al Ghul in Gotham, Siddig has also appeared in huge US shows like 24 and Game of Thrones. Alexander Siddig has also worked with director-producers like Ridley Scott and the Russo brothers on the movies Kingdom of Heaven and 21 Bridges, respectively. He has a son with ex-wife and former co-star Nana Visitor. Now he is 60. Terry Farrell as Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax. Born November 19, 1963. After Star Trek: DS9 killed off Jadzia Dax, Terry Farrell joined the cast of the Ted Danson sitcom Becker in 1998. Farrell played Reggie Costas, who appeared to have been set up as a love interest for Danson's misanthropic Dr. John Becker. However, this idea was eventually pared back and Reggie was written out of Becker in Season 4. Terry Farrell retired from acting to focus on her family shortly after. In 2002, it's recently been announced, via Deadline, that Terry Farrell will star in the movie The Glass Mind, alongside resident alien Sarah Tomko. Now she is 62. Nana Visitor as Colonel Kira Nerys. Born Nana Tucker July 26, 1957. Major and later Colonel Kira Nerys isn't your average Star Trek first officer. A former self-proclaimed terrorist who fought to free Boer from the Cardassians' occupation. Kira doesn't trust the Federation at first. Early in the series she bumps heads with Sisko more often than not, though eventually they earn each other's respect and friendship. Nana Visitor remained close to the science fiction genre after Star Trek: Deep Space Nine ended. Visitor has since had a string of guest roles in James Cameron's Dark Angel, Ronald D. Moore's Battlestar Galactica reboot, and the Doctor Who spin-off, Torchwood, Miracle Day. More recently, Nana Visitor reprised the role of Colonel Kira Nerys for Star Trek: Lower Decks. Nana Visitor and co-star Alexander Siddig began dating in 1995. They married 2 years later and, while they divorced in 2001, she is married to musical director Matthew Rimmer and has 2 sons from previous relationships, including one with DS9 co-star Alexander Siddig. Now she is 68. Avery Brooks as Captain Benjamin Sisko. Born October 2, 1948. Phew. Star Trek. Captain's shoulder, the kind of responsibility borne by Benjamin Sisko. Who Avery Brooks played for all 7 seasons of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Along with the usual duties of keeping his crew safe, Sisko is charged with nudging Boer toward the Federation, unintentionally becoming a religious figure, and waging a war against the Dominion, all while raising his son alone. Avery Brooks has become something of an enigma since Star Trek Deep Space Nine ended in 1999. Brooks had one movie role following the end of DS9, playing Detective Leon Jackson opposite Robert De Niro and Edward Burns in 2001's 15 Minutes. In 2007, Brooks directed a revival of the play Boogie Woogie Landscapes at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in London's West End. In 2009, Brooks released the album Here, which contained his versions of some classic ballads and love songs. So while audiences may have missed Avery Brooks on screen since Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the actor has certainly been busy in the interim period. A couple years ago he got a DUI, which sucks. He lives in Princeton with his wife and has 3 daughters. Now he is 77. Andrew Robinson. Born February 14, 1942. As demonstrated in the 2018 documentary, What We Left Behind. Plenty of Deep Space Nine fans named the enigmatic Garak as their favorite character from the series. The Cardassians is a spy exiled from his homeworld for reasons he consistently lies about. While he often works alongside the crew of DS9, it's never a guarantee, and to the end of the series his past remains shrouded in mystery. Much of his acting work after DS9 came in one-offs and recurring roles on TV series, though he has had the opportunity to return to the role of Garak in interesting ways. He is married and has a daughter, Rachel Robinson, a singer, songwriter and actress who guest-starred on DS9 and was also a candidate to play Ezri Dax. Now he is 83. Michael Dorn as Lieutenant Commander Worf. Born December 9, 1952. Star Trek Deep Space Nine's finale wasn't the end for Lieutenant Commander Worf, played by Michael Dorn, who returned for one final Star Trek, The Next Generation movie in 2002. Star Trek Nemesis was far from anyone's finest hour, particularly Worf, who didn't have much to do beyond shooting at things. In the years between Nemesis and Worf's return in Star Trek Picard Season 3, Michael Dorn has made a consistent living from voice work on acclaimed video games like Mass Effect 2 and Fallout New Vegas, in which he voiced Gatatog Uvenk and Marcus, respectively. As well as video games, Michael Dorn has also provided the voices of many characters in animated shows as diverse as Disney's The Lion Guard and Gertie's superhero show Invincible. Like many of his fellow Star Trek actors, Dorn has also worked with Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy and Ted 2, in which he played Rick, who in one scene cosplayed as Lieutenant Worf from Star Trek The Next Generation. Now he is 73.